M28 asking nurse F27 out to dinner via thank you card. I met a nurse when I took my dad to the and we were joking on and off while she was taking care of him. She got off at 7 but said she may come back to say goodbye, so I stuck around for a bit. Hits 7:20 and I don't see her, so I leave. My mom said she came back and she told the nurse, "I told my son he should ask you out?" To which she replied, "Aw, that's cute, I should have come back sooner." So I went back the next day to thank her for taking care of my pops and to ask her out to dinner. They told me they couldn't tell me if she was there, so I went and got a thank you card instead. Rather than ask her if she wanted to get dinner, I said, "I would love to take you out to dinner," and left my number. I'm an overthinker. Not sure if I should have gone with the other approach and asked if she would like to get dinner. Any advice? That's about the best you can do under the circumstances. Either she was just being polite with your mom or she's into you. Either way you'll know within a couple days. I think your approach was just fine. You made it clear you want to treat her to dinner, so there's no ambiguity. Good luck. As a nurse, I just want you to know there's a good chance she won't reach out, and it won't be because of anything about you, but about preserving boundaries in a client-provider relationship. Family members of the people we care for are an extension of the client themselves, and ethically and professionally it's usually best to not cross those lines. That's not to say she definitely won't, but depending on her governing body and her own boundaries regarding blurring work and her personal life, she may not reach out simply due to the nature of how you met. Don't overthink it if you don't end up getting a text or call. I think it's perfectly fine. If she does reach out and you two go out to dinner, maybe try to treat it as a thank you dinner initially and try to lightly ask if she's looking to date or get to know each other better. Good luck. Sounds pretty polite. Ball is in her court. If you never put yourself out there, you will miss every chance in life. Good luck. I'm starting to resent my 28 female mother, 48 female, for the way she raised me, and I dunno what to do. My mum was a single parent with no help or contact from my biological dad. He purposefully didn't work, so he didn't need to pay child benefits, so mum was poor. In hindsight, she really wasn't ready for me. Physically, mentally and financially. After researching, I learnt that childhood trauma doesn't need to be caused by sexual assault or serious beating. Emotional neglect is valid, as is light hitting and screaming. I get told now how well behaved I was. My grandparents praise me because I never had a tantrum. My mum has another baby now and she says now she's sorry for taking me for granted as I was an easy kid. Now she regrets losing her temper with me. I can't remember doing anything wrong, so why was I hit so much? My mum didn't teach me anything. I went to my room and sat alone for the first 15 years of my life. I wasn't pushed at school, she didn't care how I was performing in school. I don't think she looked at my homework once. If I said something she didn't like, instead of talking to me about it, she just hit me. Now I burst out crying if my partner raises his voice, even if it isn't directed at me, and I flinch if he gets frustrated with something. I am uncomfortable with communication because I wasn't taught how to talk to people. I was never taught how to ask for help, or how it's okay to ask for help, or how it's okay to not be okay. I was never taught how to have constructive conversations. I remember having mats and tats in my hair because she mustn't have brushed it. I remember wearing stupid mismatched clothes because she didn't dress me. I'm 28 and I've only just learnt you're supposed to wipe front to back. 28 years old, how embarrassing is that? I have something called MRHK, which means I don't get periods. She didn't ask until I was 17. "Hey op, have you had your period yet?" She didn't even realize I was a gifted artist till I was 18, despite drawing from the age of 6. I don't remember her ever giving me any love or attention. She only told me she loved me if she was drunk. The only memories I have of my childhood are in my room or negative. She never took me to the park, or to after-school clubs to socialize me. I don't remember her hugging me. Now I have major social anxiety. I'm always scared I'm annoying people or someone is gonna shout at me. I always feel like I done something wrong. I keep having flashbacks of being a kid, standing outside my grandpa's bedroom door, my favorite family member even though I wouldn't admit it, desperately wanting morning cuddles. I remember pacing back and forth, building up the courage to knock on his bedroom door and ask for a cuddle. I knew I'd be greeted with love from him as always. I was his little girl. But 9 times out of 10 I'd not be brave enough and I'd go back to bed alone. I have flashbacks of being upset and feeling like I had nobody to talk to. Now I'm an anxious poss who can't look people in the eye, get suspicious and anxious around affection, have no education on money, how to save and spend, how to ask for help or have a balanced discussion or debate. I don't even know how to stand up for myself. I've been hurt and walked over so fucking much, but even if someone is hurting me to a level 10, if I said anything and hurt them even a tiny bit, I'd feel disgusting. I'd feel worse than if I just let said person abuse me. I guess I don't need advice. I know I need therapy, but if anyone has any advice, I'd be thankful. Or any success stories of how you manage this if you have suffered too. I mean, my partner mentioned his mother hugging him and I was like, your mum hugged you? Just for no reasons? Wasn't that weird? The best advice is therapy. Go talk to a professional. Don't try to fix years and years of pain based on internet strangers' opinion. And it's perfectly okay to be angry with her even if she was poor and had no support. Lots of people struggle as single parents and give their kids basic affection. I am sorry that this was your childhood. Don't feel bad for your resentment. It is okay to resent your mom even if she did her best. You already know therapy is the way, but I still want to encourage you to stand up for yourself, to be brave, to be proud, to claim your space. You have a lot to offer to the world, I'm sure of it. I'm so sorry for your suffering. You so much deserve better. You can do this. Therapy is the way. You may have to search a while to find the right one. When I was about 30, I had a realization that I had some behavioral issues. It turned into resenting my parents. I saw a therapist and over the years have come to accept them for the way they raised me and the good and bad that came with it. I'm 42 now and just starting to come to terms with it all. Them. Me. How to handle my problems. How to become better. Thankful for what I have. Accepting of how I was raised. It's a process. A maturing, growing, enlightening process. It gets better. You get better. Your relationship gets better. As long as you continue to reflect and work on yourself. My 24F boyfriend, 22M, is extremely intelligent and it is making me more and more insecure. I, 24F, have a boyfriend, 22M, and this is the best relationship I have had in my life. He truly treats me so well. We are long distance and he is always willing to travel from Italy to the UK to see me every 2 weeks. This guy really cares about me, he listens to me, he supports me, and I feel so safe and taken care of. So of course I do not want to mess it up. I really believe we can have a future together. But I do have a problem. He is extremely intelligent. I do not know his IQ, I always avoided asking, but he is a Mensa member. He is better than me at everything, and it is slowly killing me. We study the same thing, aerospace engineering, so it isn't easy to stop comparing myself to him when every day I have a reason to. I always have been an anxious and insecure person, and my self-esteem was never that high. So for me, it is really hard to have the constant reminder that my partner is way better than me at everything that I love, and that it is easy for him to do things that I can only imagine doing. From academics to social life. He has so many friends while I'm a loner. He's organized, productive, calm, trustworthy, and such a great leader. He is involved in so many societies and he is building a fucking satellite while still being a student FFS. And a wonderful public speaker. Meanwhile I have to take anxiety pills before presenting something. He pisses me off and I feel guilty because I know it is not his fault, and he never ever brags about his abilities, quite the contrary actually. He's always making sure that I know my worth, but I cannot believe him when he says he is proud of my achievements because they are nothing compared to his. I find my course hard, and when I'm trying to study I tend to stress and cry a lot because I find it hard to understand what I'm studying. He's always willing to help me, and he does. But instead of feeling grateful, I get even more frustrated. I start wondering, would I be able to get a high mark without his help? Why are these things so easy for him while I need to cry 6 times before understanding? How can he remember this topic so well and explain it better than my professor, if he took the exam a long time ago? I stop remembering what I've studied right after the exam FFS. And the worst thing is when he sees me struggling with an assignment, and he starts explaining to me how to do it even if he never studied that module before. It is so frustrating to see that he's better than me even at things I studied and he didn't. When it happens, I get pissed off at him and I tend to stop speaking to him, and I feel guilty because he truly does not deserve it, but I can't stop myself from feeling so bad and angry. I'm writing this post today because we both applied to the same master's course at the same competitive university. He got in and I was rejected. I was so convinced I was gonna get accepted, so this really surprised me, and angered me. I was thinking to start new hobbies that he is not interested on, so that I can have my thing that he does not know how to do. But if I do this, I know I won't speak to him about my hobbies and I will eventually stop sharing what I do. Because I know, deep down, that if he tried he'd be better than me without any effort. And that would make me even more miserable. Any advice or similar stories would help me very much. I do not know how to speak to him about this, it would make me so vulnerable. Is therapy an option? This is a 100% you issue, and if you don't want to chase him away with your insecurity, it might be good to visit these feelings with a therapist. He does nothing but support you and build you up, by the sounds of it. This is a you problem, and if you don't work on this and run him off with your attitude, you will regret it. You're allowing your insecurities to damage a good relationship, and eventually it will probably force him away from you unless you can get a handle on it. Not everyone is born with the same aptitude for everything. That's just a fact of life. There's probably a lot of people out there less intelligent than you that would love to have your life. Aerospace engineer is a very difficult field of study, and you should not feel inadequate about struggling through it. My friend went through the degree program, so I know, and he's very smart too. The only person you're competing with is yourself, not others. You're making the most of what you have to offer the world, and that is commendable and sufficient. To me, this is the most important thing in your post. He's always making sure that I know my worth. So he's a really smart guy. But this one thing, your worth, you don't believe him? It seems that he is proving your worth to him through his actions. He isn't the competition, so don't keep score. Much of what we experience in life comes from our own choices. Perhaps it's time to choose to believe him, and view yourself through his eyes. Therapy for your anxiety and low self-esteem issues. My F26 girlfriend, F24, doesn't want to have my biological children. Okay, let me explain a bit. My girlfriend, F24, and I, F26, been dating for about 4 years and we are getting married next year. Lately, we have been talking about having kids, since we have a stable relationship, great income and a beautiful house. Since I was little I have always dreamed about being a mom. So a couple nights ago we were chatting about this, and she told me that she couldn't think of me pregnant since I'm more masculine than her. Also, she started to talk about how she wanted to only have children that were biologically hers because, in her words, I have bad genes and her family wouldn't love the kid as much as if it was hers. It's needless to say I don't care if the baby is mine or hers biologically. I will love them. It was just the way she said these things. Like I'm at some point, the men, here. I have always dreamed about being a mom, but I'm not sure if this is something I should worry about. Reddit, please help me. All I can say is that if this is the way she perceives your future children, makes me wonder if she'd even love or bond with the kid if it was biologically yours and not hers. Would have nay asking myself whether she'd even be a good mom. I can't imagine raising a child with someone who sees some children as superior than others. Especially if the one she sees as inferior is her partner's biological child. Wait, what? The family won't love the baby as much if it's not hers? What in the manipulation is that all about? Inferior genes? What the actual heck? Never would I ever say that to somebody I loved. Her thinking her family wouldn't love the child if it was your biological child is pretty perverse. As to your genes, well, she knows you better than I do. If you have genetic diseases in your family, she may have a good point. If she just doesn't like some non-disease traits of yours, let's say vision that isn't perfect, she's being very shallow. I do think this is a conversation you have to have again and again. If carrying a child is important to you, don't give that away. Can you each have one? Please don't do this to children. I would delay getting married until you've resolved this. Don't just assume it will work itself out in time. This is a huge make or break the relationship issue. The post title is confusing, but it sounds like she alone wants to bear any biological child, for some really quite bizarre reasons. You need to first find out where those feelings are coming from before moving forward with this relationship.